I'm Steve Diederich. Mickey, my wife, is a showrunner. I am given the title show producer, so I set up the vendors and exhibitors and all the other techie, nerdy things. I'm moderating the panel, which I'm very happy to. We've got a great panel today. I do the VintNerd YouTube channel, so I stream that stuff. Let's go ahead and introductions.
Hello, Betty, please pick up. I'm Jeff Fulton, and I work on a podcast and video channel with my brother Steve. It's Into the Vertical Blank, and we know it's a prepositional phrase. People have told us that the name of your podcast and video channel is a prepositional phrase, but that's the way we like it.
I do that with Jeff.
Well, Evie, you're up very fast there.
Check. So, for the last, 5-6 years, I've done this very low-key channel called Evie's Revue. It started out as just like doing random videos about random stuff in my life, and then it kind of evolved into this project I do now called Backbit, which is making hardware for vintage machines. And I've done a little bit of streaming. Like, I've done a little of this and a little of that. I'm always open to ideas.
I'm Alexander. I run a small YouTube channel called That Electronics Fool because I couldn't think of anything more original that wasn't already taken. So I do a lot of videos on just kind of random topics, like things that I find interesting. Like if I find something that looks like it might have something cool inside or whatever, I'll take it apart, figure out how it works or whatever. Or sometimes I'll do repairs. And a lot of the stuff that I get is like either used or broken, or it's just stuff that I find that kind of looks interesting. So that's kind of about it.
I'm Jeri Ellsworth. I'm an old school YouTuber. I started my channel in the 2000s, and I do a little bit of this and that, art, retro computers, science you can do in your garage, burning things. So that's basically what haven't done much recently, so sorry about that.
Jesus. My name is David Lovett, and I am the worst rapper that you will ever meet. Yeah, that's it. No, I run a YouTube channel called Usagi Electric. I do a pretty heavy focus on large-scale machines. I have a strict cutoff date of 1984, so I don't work on anything newer than 1984. And I think this is actually the first VCF I can proudly say this at. The oldest running digital computer in America is currently in my garage, which is something to be pretty proud of, because it weighs 1,000 pounds. It's 1,000 pounds. It's literally 1,000 pounds. I think Diederich rates it at 960 something pounds.
You know you can rent a U-Haul at any time.
I didn't see a forklift out front though.
I'm Sean Hass. I'm the host and producer of the Advent of Computing podcast, which is an academic podcast about the history of computing and computers and anything with bits.
I just want to help cut some slack for David. The machine you have here this weekend was already here when you got here. So,
so the machine that's out there is a LibreScope LGP21. It's a transistorized, cost-reduced version of the LGP30, which was a vacuum tube computer that was a competitor against the Diederich G15. That machine was originally bought by Los Alamos and used for probably questionable nefarious deeds, or just basic accounting, who knows. And then it went to another gentleman who held on to it for a few years, and then that gentleman sold it to the gentleman that I got it from, who happened to be Tom Jennings, who is the guy who created FidoNet. Among a lot of other really amazing projects.
Did FidoNet run on that?
No, I don't think, Tom never got it running.
Okay.
So I drove up from Texas, picked it up in around Glendale, and then so it's been in my possession for like 48 hours. So if I don't know much about it, that's why.
You haven't played music yet.
Not yet, no.
The ding. So what we're going to do today is I have a topic to cover. And then after we go through that, and we'll see how much time we have, everybody loves to have audience questions. However, we have so many people on the stage, if you ask one person one question and they want to answer it, well, there's not enough time. So if you can think of yes-no questions, like maybe for a specific person or for the whole panel, like yes-no is, has anybody ever blown up a mainframe? We might get one yes. No, oh, two, maybe.
Maybe Jeri.
So, well, we'll do that in a little bit. So what I'd like to do today is, it is Valentine's weekend. Love. And what I'd like to know is, everybody on the panel, through your experiences in life, you've learned a lot, it's directed you. So now, what is your passion that was shaped by all those years? What is it? You have a lot of passions going on, and some we know about, but what's the ones that maybe you're into now that just people don't know? Like you're like repairing old classic radios or something like that. So let's start with, well, David, let's start with you.
I was hoping to steal somebody else's homework. That's a tough one. Okay, so I kind of started out as a car guy, and that was my passion through and through. I lived, eat, and breathed, and slept racing and driving and restoring old cars and stuff like that. And then the pandemic hit, and I lost my source of income, so that hobby got put on hold. But it turns out that really my passion isn't so much that it's cars, it's the process of solving problems. So like whether you're restoring an old car or troubleshooting an engine that is being problematic, the skill set's the exact same as trying to repair an old machine like a Centurion mini computer or a Binix G15. It's the same skill set. It activates the same neurons in your brain. And it turns out that pivot, I was looking for something cheaper than like classic cars because that's crazy expensive. But that pivot to try and keep my bank account from being angry at me really highlighted that, the passion lies in the process. The passion lies in the problem solving and in the learning new ways to achieve things that you have seen achieved in other ways and should be easily achievable, but these people did it this way, and that's really fascinating. So that's I don't know. Is that a good answer? Was that a good answer? I feel like that wasn't a good answer.
We'll know later. All right. No, that was good. That's great. Alex, when did you start your YouTube channel?
It's been kind of It's been sort of I didn't originally start it with the intention of doing videos on electronic topics. It actually started more as a place where I would upload these videos that I would do on just to share some stuff that I was working on some go-karts, because I was really into go-karts at that point in time. And then, I don't know, people started gaining some interest in my stuff, and then at one point I think I uploaded a video about a robotic vacuum that I had found at a thrift store for $6 that wasn't working, it had a broken wheel and stuff. I took it apart, and then I fixed it, and from there, it just kind of, it didn't blow up, but it did significantly good, I guess. And
So starting the channel originally with what you're doing then led into other things.
Yeah, sort of. And then, so after, that particular vacuum video got kind of popular, I decided to focus on just more of the electronic stuff, because at that point I had just moved and I wasn't really doing a whole lot of stuff with go-karts anymore. It was, like a home-built go-kart. So I sort of started doing more of like repairing stuff or just taking something apart, showing what was in it. And so that's pretty much what I've been doing since. And that was around 2009, 2010 or so that I started just more focusing on just electronics, devices and stuff like that, computers.
So what is your passion for, like, what kind of, like, the computers, 8-bits,
I
radios?
don't have any specific like focus that I can say. I've just always just been into, like, I don't know, I guess I was born with some gene or something that like led me in that direction, because the earliest memory that I have has to be from maybe like 3 or 4 years old. My dad had bought me an RC car. It didn't stay an RC car for very long. I was more interested in like what was inside of it, like how it worked. And so I just kind of remember that thing in pieces, and that was before I started kindergarten. So ever since then, I've just been like, I want to know like how something works, like what's inside of it. If it doesn't work, like why doesn't it work? How can I make it work? And so I guess it's just something I've always been into.
Nice. Well, my mother never found that calculator I took apart and couldn't put back together, but that was an early age. I can't even imagine how much she spent on that, because they were big back then.
I had a toy computer that, the type that just has like the stuff built in. I think I had it for maybe a month, and then I had to see what was inside of it. After that, it just stayed hidden underneath the bed for the longest time because I couldn't get it working until they asked me what happened to it.
You know what? I have new things under my bed still. But I'm like, okay, I screwed that up. I'll find it in 2 years.
Yeah, so.
Well, nice.
Kind of my story.
Evie, Bitbacker.
What?
I'm sorry. Help me with it. There's too many words in my head.
Back bitch.
Back bits. So you've been doing that for a while. Is that still driving your creativity, or have you veered into something newer?
I think my biggest passion is learning, and that's Backbit started with opening up a Commodore 64 that someone was just getting rid of, and I'm like, maybe this could work again, and using what I know, using software. I mean, not specifically then, but using software to help me understand like what's going on with hardware. And so now I look at a vintage machine and someone's like, oh, this is a crappy old computer. It doesn't do anything anymore. Like, you can totally revive these things. It's not really that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's the cars reference earlier. That's what I think of is the muscle cars where you can get your hand. You can't get your hands in cars nowadays. I can't get my hands. I can fix stuff. A MacBook nowadays, I even don't want to take it apart because I know I'll break it. So the old computers I love because they're like cars where you can rip them apart and get into it. So I see a lot of reference here with that kind of thing.
Well, it's funny because my dad like loves working on cars.
Nice. Who goes first?
Jeff. That's me. Passion-wise, I'm into compiled basics across whatever machine it is. So because I started programming on Apple and then at Atari and then Atari ST and then went into professional programming, I absolutely hate professional programming. So so now I'd like to really explore like what can be done on those machines with their new compiled basics. And I kind of have a specific game that I'm working on that I hope to get across as many platforms as possible.
You're going to use like FujiNet network?
Maybe. Really, it's more of a scrolling asteroid style game. So it's more of an action game, and you can do that on Blitz Basic and GFA on the ST and the Amiga, so that works. But there are other machines you can, but I'm looking for what's the fastest, best sort of compiled basic on these machines.
Nice. Have you talked to Corey?
No.
Okay. Well, he's the basics guy.
There we go.
Corey is out and he's trying to catalog all known basics.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I have some videos up about UG Basic, which is brand new, and it does target a lot of 8-bit platforms, but it doesn't really do the Atari 8-bit that well. And so I think I'm looking for something like that. I know there's a couple others, but that's really what I'm looking for, is what can I do in my free time to make all these machines play a good game in compiled basic.
Nice.
All right, I'll go. So I want to say that Jeff and I's podcast, we started, we did like the first one in like 2007 or something, and it lasted for 2 episodes, and then we quit. And we came back in 2018 after our mom died. We're like, well, we got to get back and do something, right? And we were huge Atari fans our entire lives. So part of being an Atari fan is like this deep-seated depression that Atari never got to be what it was supposed to be because of the great video game crash, right? And so a lot of our podcasts started as like, what could have been? Like, what should Atari do? What should they do with their 7800? Do all this stuff. Well, it just so happens that Atari in the past few years has actually done these things, right? They've released 2600 plus and 400 mini and all those things, and so because of that, we have a lot of podcasts that are story driven, like written like stories about our childhood and stories about interviews with developers and stuff. It so happens that we're kind of running out of topics about Atari because they've done what we wanted them to do, right? Not that we did it, but they've done it. So my current passion is going back and finding like older games that I never played, and one of them, this deep dive, is a game called Executive Suite, which came out in 1982 on the IBM PC. Nobody's ever heard of it before, but I started playing it because I found it in our archive, and I found this crazy story about how it was a game made for executives, but it looks like Lotus 1, 2, 3, like the package. It was just to go up on the shelf, and so no one would know you're playing it. And the game was to start in the mailroom and become the CEO of a company. And so I did play it, and I played it all the way through. But then I found interesting story about how it was created, about how it was created by the only product this company ever made. They disappeared off the face of the earth, and so I did a deep dive into who this guy was that made it. If there's some rumors that it was actually IBM that made it with this front company. So anyway, I have this huge deep dive that I'm going to, and a lot of the stuff we're doing now is that type of thing. It's more like a story and a journey about something you're trying to discover. We do mostly software stuff, so unlike some of the...
Well, you break the seal on the packages.
Some of the smaller episodes are cracking the seal.
Yeah, we'll buy a new game or get one, and that's wrapped, and we'll open it up and play it and set it free. So,
but also
crack the seal.
research it a little bit.
Research it too, yeah.
What was the name of the game again?
Executive Suite. I know, and
has anybody here heard or played it?
Exactly.
Anybody here wrote it?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. But anyway,
you don't want to admit it? What? Nice, Jeri. I feel that you're going to be talking about things on four wheels.
Yeah, there seems to be a common thread with all the motorheads on the panel here. Yeah, I definitely have a automotive background, raced cars. I think maybe it's part of our DNA, as you talked about, tore apart things, so I can really relate to that story as well, as have to know how everything works. Love when things aren't working. I get disappointed when things come from eBay and they actually work.
That's the bonus.
Yeah.
Except at broken shipping.
I just got a shipment that was just smashed in shipping. So I get to fix it, so that's exciting.
So if I can say, Jeri's background, I don't know if it started with this, but this is what I'm familiar with. 15, 20 years ago, the C64 stick?
Yeah, so a lot of people know me because of this all-in-one joystick I built that played all your favorite Commodore 64 games, plus it was a full Commodore 64. So I was commissioned by a toy company to design that, and it was super fun to do that project.
At a super young age.
Yeah, I felt kind of old at the time, though.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, it's kind of interesting. When I did that project, I felt like I was kind of a vanguard when it came to collecting things, because I'd been collecting computers in the 90s when people thought it was kind of crazy to be doing that. Mm-hmm. And in the 2000s, we started to see that people were getting interested, people were coming of age that were interested in those old Commodores or Apples, and it was kind of the perfect time to do that particular project.
So that project, was that retro for the old machines? I thought about this the other day, because now your product is now vintage.
I know, it's so funny.
Retro squared.
And all the music you listen to while you made that is all
I dyed my hair
oldies.
before I came here. You're not supposed to know how old I am.
Do you want me to stab him for you?
Yeah,
I can stab him for you.
Stabby.
So
No, but what's interesting is I learned a lot working with the toy guys, because this happens across all generations. There's different age groups where people get nostalgic. So when you reach your 30s, you start to develop your own family. That happened with the Commodore 64 and all these other toys we made back then. You get nostalgic about these toys, and if there's a product that happens to be there, like a Commodore 64 joystick, it'll sell really well because people are nostalgic at that point. Mm-hmm. There's a second time that the toy guys like to target, which is when you're all the kids are out of the house and you're in retirement age. That's where you get the die-cast Corvettes and the fake jukeboxes and stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting working with these experts in the space that really knew human psychology well.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
AI is going to help with that.
Oh boy.
Sorry, too soon? So from that, and you Tilt 5. So who here knows Tilt 5? Okay, we need to tell more people.
Yeah, just a quick plug of my current startup. It's all about tabletop gaming to bring people together, but it's holographic tabletop gaming. You wear these glasses and holograms pop out of the table. So trying to be on the cutting edge of a kind of new computing type experience where things are more holographic. It's super fun.
So is that still now what's driving you, or is that getting settled, mature, and do you have a new passion you're working on? Can you tell us?
Yeah,
Do we
my
have
new
to sign
passion,
NDAs?
you can actually see it out in the area. It's like I've collected all the common stuff. Like I've got every Commodore or whatever out there. Yeah, I got them. So now I'm like moving off into like things that people would never collect, like productivity machines for the office because they're so weird, and they were trying to do something to bridge the gap between like non-techie and techie people.
And they always have like that.
fascinating.
They always have like that one port or something, like a barcode input, or like you'd never have on a home machine.
A
You're like, what were they
speakerphone
going to do
function,
with that?
like- yeah, they're weird. So yeah, that's been my passion. Just kind of exploring these unloved machines.
And they're all out. Well, maybe you didn't bring them all, but there's a lot out on
There's
the
some
exhibit
weird
hall.
ass things out in my booth, so come check it out.
Nice.
And me.
So Sean,
Yes, Steve.
your podcast,
What about it?
how is it going?
It's going really well, actually. I'm always shocked when I come to these events. I run into more and more people that know the show, which, thank you all. It's very gratifying. But yeah, it's going really well. I'm on a 2-week break while I'm doing this, and I was doing another online festival, so I'm taking a little time off, but I'm going to be back very soon with new stuff.
Nice. So you've done a few different topics. What is driving you right now? What are you passionate about that you're like up late Googling and you're into Reddit and doing the super advanced searches for that one bit of info?
Oh, it goes beyond Reddit. I have a newspapers.com subscription right now, which I love. No, recently, actually the last episode I put out hopefully extinguished this in me, but I've been getting really into the weird corporate machinations of IBM in the 30s. Because,
Wow.
oh, yeah, so I just did an episode on the Friedan Flexowriter, and the corporate history around that in the 30s makes no sense at all. It's not documented, and you have to go through, I was telling Jeri, you have to go through like old trade journals and old newspapers because stock sales and election to corporate boards have to be put in newspapers, and so do fictitious name registries. So you can use that to build up the corporate history of early companies. And IBM did some really shady stuff that led to the creation of the Flexowriter. So that's been keeping me up at night, is like, what else is hiding in like Business Accounting Quarterly that might be really impactful for something
Right.
we don't even realize?
Right, in the 30s, they didn't think you were going to be up at midnight Googling that information.
No, they probably thought I'd be doing something much less virtuous, I'd assume.
Yes. I don't think I missed anybody on that question, did I? No? Okay, so I have another question, and then we'll get to your questions. I am curious, being a YouTuber, I'm just on YouTube. I don't think I'm on anything else, YouTube or streaming or not. But there's a lot of stuff going on with other places to stream. Like, you don't podcast on YouTube, right?
I transcode to YouTube, but
Right, but
less.
what's your primary one you like to use?
Podcasting.
Like podcast.com, Apple Podcast?
Well, so with podcast syndication, it goes to any podcatcher. So technically, I just publish an XML file, and it goes out into the ether, and then it goes on your cell phones. That's how it works.
Okay, so you're much more of an audio streamer.
Yeah, essentially. And since podcasting isn't centralized like YouTube, it's a lot more. You can get it in a lot more ways. You can consume it in a lot different ways than just on YouTube.
Cool. David. I'm trying to think of a funny question. So you're on YouTube,
Yes.
but have you branched out to other things?
No.
Jeri. No.
Moving on.
So there's an interesting alternative YouTube called Odyssey, and they had it set up to where you could essentially do an automatic upload to Odyssey. So you would upload to YouTube, Odyssey would scrape it off of YouTube and upload it to their own website. And I did it, Adrian did it, everybody was doing this for a very long time because it was a great way to have a backup in case the YouTube servers exploded. Which, I mean, they won't, but you know, it's nice to have stuff.
But it's never zero.
Yeah, it's never zero, that's right. And recently, Odyssey, YouTube changed some of their internal whatever, and Odyssey can't do that scrape anymore. And I think sum total of every video that I've ever had on Odyssey has a cumulative view count of like 1,200 or something. So like there's very few people watching it on Odyssey. These people are loud. Because as soon as it stopped automatically uploading, I was getting comments on videos, I was getting people like hunting me down, sending me emails like, hey, your videos are not on Odyssey anymore.
Wow.
I can't believe you stopped supporting our niche platform. This
know,
is the
right?
only way I see content.
That was a very interesting thing. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was still, I'd forgotten that I had that set up.
Oh, it's still working.
Yeah.
Well, not now. But.
So I'm pretty much only on YouTube, but because I don't trust anything, I keep every single iota of content that I make backed up on a storage server, and I employ a tiny little Texan with a shotgun to guard it.
Do you have a mainframe for that?
No, I have just like a Cisco storage server. So, but it is in a old Centurion cabinet. So, a little bit of anachronisms there.
Well, that reminds me of Jeri, your refrigerator. Was it old, reel-to-reel?
Yeah, that pissed people off. I converted an old reel-to-reel tape drive into a mini fridge to put my beer in. Yeah, sorry. Along these questions, I'll go in reverse because I got started back before YouTube was really a thing. So I was working at New Tech doing the TriCaster, which is a follow-on to the video toaster. So I'm designing these boards for them, and there's this thing called streaming, and I'm like designing something for it. I'm like, well, I should start streaming to learn what I'm designing. So I started streaming from my hardware lab 24/7 in, I don't know, maybe it was 2006 or something, to Ustream and Justin TV. And
nice.
That was really interesting and formed a kind of early community. Everyone thought I was insane because, you know, it's common to have people streaming today, but back then it's like, why would you expose your entire life to the internet? But
Right.
this community formed around my streaming, and I had like a few hundred people every single day just hanging out with me as I was working in my lab designing things. It was pretty cool. And it was community driven. We built like chatbots and all kinds of stuff so they could talk to me and control the pan tilt zoom cameras, and they could feed my pet beta fish called Master Beta.
Nice.
So yeah. And then YouTube came along, and you know, it was only doing like 5 minutes at a time. I don't remember. It was not very useful to me. And then eventually YouTube became useful. And so that's kind of my journey. And I haven't been doing much lately, so I haven't looked at any.
You've been busy.
Yeah.
Making the things we want to play with. Alex.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just YouTube at the moment, but much like David, I have trust issues, so I'm a bit of a data hoarder, and I've built myself, once I was running out of space on my 2 terabyte drive, I didn't want to just go and buy another hard drive to pop in my computer, so I ended up putting together a little NAS box with a bunch of used parts and whatever I had laying around, and then some hard drives I bought on eBay. And that gave me a total of like 14 terabytes more, so I could cram more crap into that. And then just recently I got another server that I turned into a NAS as well, so I just store everything on there just in case things go south with like YouTube or whatever. At least I have a backup of like all my content and raw video and all that stuff. Eventually, back in the like mid 90s, you know, we had like a 15 and like later like 80 gigabyte hard drives. I thought, oh, I'm never gonna fill that up. Now I'm like, is that enough? Do I need more? But they're good for now, so that's what I've been doing.
I have this deep-seated desire to build a petabyte server, just because I can.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. I'm broke.
Out of 3.5-inch floppy drives?
What's that?
Well, that would be a lot of floppy drives.
Well, with the competitive rates at Amazon S3, you can just do that at home now. It's all in the cloud.
The cloud is just
Very
somebody else's
trustworthy.
computer.
So the problem I find for myself is I back up things, and if I'm archiving, I archive 3 copies of it. I've been doing computers too long, and I have had things happen, whether I caused them or not, and then that saved me. But when you get an 8 terabyte drive and you got stuff on it, then you need to back that up. Then I need a bigger drive. Where's it end? So I'm not sure yet, but it's
Petabyte.
not fun.
Petabyte. That's where it is. Petabyte.
Or buying a RAID controller from Supermicro and sending it to your home address, maybe?
Evie.
What I do besides YouTube?
Yeah,
I do,
if anything.
I do email.
Nice. I kind of want to. I'm going to set up a email channel. Every new video goes out by email. Only the people who subscribe to it. It's not going to be on YouTube.
Well, the reality is I really need a producer because I have too many ideas and not very focused execution.
Well, that's what partners are for, to work out things. So that's how. I'll take a second here. Mickey and I do this show, and with a lot of helpers, but I couldn't do it without Mickey. I'm not going to speak for Mickey, but I'm pretty sure since I do the geek stuff, she might have a little trouble with that. But yeah, it's great when you find somebody to work with cohesively, which, then leads us to you two.
Well, I'm gonna let Jeff answer this, and I just want to say something. Sean's podcast is amazing, and I love it. It's one of my favorite podcasts. All you guys are awesome.
You're far too kind.
I feel like with Jeri on the stage, we should be down here somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Should be way up there. I've actually met you a couple times before at Mattel when you came in and talked about your stuff. So you wouldn't remember me, but I remember you. Anyway, all you guys are awesome, and go ahead, Jeff.
Wow. I agree. So we started just as the audio, and then we moved to YouTube and did separate things on YouTube. And then we merged the two together, and now we're separating them again. And so we'll do a video on YouTube, then we'll talk about it on the podcast a little bit and dig deeper into it.
That sounds good.
But then we did put up some video on Facebook. Tried to do a little bit with some of the Chinese platforms. They're not illegal. They're not, and other ways. Really, the best place for video is YouTube. If you're doing anything long form, that really is the best way. And then obviously any Libsyn's a good place to host your podcast.
Yeah, Sean has convinced us to move, so we're going to do that.
Audio is
It's one of the world leader in podcast hosting, I've heard.
Nice. Well, let's do some audience questions. Yes, no question for the panel? A no yes question? Anything? Yes.
Yes, no for the debate. We have an update on the PDP-11 supercomputer relatively.
All right, so she asked, yes, no, will we have an update on the PDP-11 supercomputer soon?
Go for it.
No. Do I need to elaborate?
Please check back next year. No, go ahead and
So what they're referring to down there is I have a PDP-1144 that is just like your average run-of-the-mill Unibus mini computer. But there was a company called Floating Point Systems that built add-on boxes for them that were array processors. And these things were pretty gnarly. You could get like 8 to 10 megaflops of performance out of your mini computer, which is something like 10% of the performance of a Cray 1 at the time, which is incredible. That's an amazing amount of processing power. I mean, it's like 1/1,000,000th of what my cell phone can do, but I want a slow supercomputer. So I got this board set out of an FPS 100, but the backplane is completely custom. So every pin on the board set connects to a different pin on a different board, and there's a dramatic lack of documentation. We have found schematics for 6 of the 8 boards, but 2 of the boards are completely elusive, and so pretty much the only option at this point is to reverse engineer them completely, which is time-consuming and tedious. So that's the long answer. There will be an update. This is a project that I've been like well and truly nerd sniped by. So it's like I'm like losing sleep at night about it, which means I'm just going to sleep like crap for the next 6 months. But we'll get there. We'll get there, and eventually we'll have a schematic for these unknown boards, and then we'll be able to create a custom backplane, plug them together, and then we'll start doing more regular updates on that machine as we try to bring it up is this kind of like half restoration, half homebrew abomination.
Was that the no you were looking for? Okay, great. Another audience question?
I have a question that's been relayed to me through somebody else by the name of Bill Hurd.
Great.
Bill would like to know, there is an ongoing competition that keeps happening between Jeri and David. Every time we go to VCF and we make it out to a pinball place, the two of them are both pinball aficionados and they constantly have to challenge each other. And Bill would like to know how that competition has been going. He seems to have a recollection that Jeri has beat David in the past.
Mm-hmm.
False.
You see, when you mentioned this, her shoulders tensed up, she got very aggressive, and I'm cool as a cucumber because I crush her every time.
Oh, no, tell the whole truth, tell the whole
The whole truth is that we do have this competition, and she mops the floor with me for the entire night until, through a war of attrition, I wear her down and win the last game and then go home.
That's how it works. It's for all the marbles. The last game wins it all, and I've lost every time.
Every single time. It's amazing.
Do we have more questions? If we don't have, oh yeah?
This is not a yes or no question, but as a person doing YouTube, you have to worry a lot about, particularly niche YouTubes like we're all interested in. What is the economics of that as a proposition? I mean, it's kind of a vague question, but I see people putting huge amounts of effort into this stuff, and how do you keep going?
Well, if I can answer that first, I have really enjoyed the many thousands of dollars I have spent on it. And I feel like I'm really getting somewhere finally. So, thank you
There's
for
about
asking.
to be a breakthrough any minute now.
There's only a couple Adrian's Digital Basements. In fact, there's 1 and 2. Those make money, and other people might. But for the most part, it's just you're doing it because that's what you want to do, right? There is money to be made. You can make ad revenue, but not a lot, unless you really go for the lowest common denominator, and that means talking about the NES, really, if you want to, and things like that. And that's not, I mean, NES is great, but that's what people want to hear in the U.S. especially.
Can I play a little devil's advocate here?
Are you going to sing again? No.
Well, I mean, the devil did go down to Georgia. No. Yes and no. My channel is anything but lowest common denominator. People who have watched my channel may know I'm into like weird, obscure 1960s, 1970s mini computers, and YouTube's my full-time gig right now. That's what I.
That's amazing. Good job. You have to do it right.
It's a lot of work. You have to be a content producer first, and then whatever else it is that you're filming second. But it is possible. You can do it. So about half of my revenue comes from YouTube AdSense, and the other half comes from Patreon support, which is stunning and amazing. And there's actually a few of my patrons out here today, and you guys help keep food on the table. And I absolutely could not afford to live in California or New York, but I can afford to live in rural Texas off of what I earn. So.
And I will say with podcasting, the economics are completely different. Ad sales and podcasts, you have to be like the very tip top to actually make reasonable money off ad sales and podcasting. So all the money that I make from the show is through Patreon, and it's enough to cover, I don't do it professionally, it's enough to get hosting and all of my sources. I can buy as many books as I want, as long as they're not very expensive books. But yeah, with podcasting, you have to be huge to actually like make a living off of it.
Anybody else want to field that question?
Yeah, I find myself sinking a little more into it than it actually brings back, especially since I don't really have like any Patreon supporters at the moment or anything. But I think what kind of keeps me going is just the wanting to share the knowledge, because I often get some people that, come across a video that I did it, and, they're just like, oh, wow, like, I always wanted to see the inside of one of these things, or some of the repair videos that I've done, like people are like, oh, I was able to get my whatever it was working again by watching your video, and that's just, I don't know, I guess it's encouraging to get that kind of comment, and it just, so I just kind of trudge on, I guess.
So it drives you further that
Yeah.
somebody else recognizes that it was worth you spending that time to do
Yeah,
it.
like it wasn't a complete waste of time. I was able to help somebody out there that I have no idea who they are, that didn't ask for my help, but they seek the information and they found it through one of my videos.
I get that as well. So like a 2-year-old video about something. I forgot I made the video, and somebody's like, that was great. It helped me fix my thing. That's the comments I like to hear. And I wanted to add the hard work involved is if I wanted to fix something, 15, 20 minutes. If I'm like, I should do a video on it, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, because my studio's a mess. The lighting isn't right. That thing's not, I'm missing a part. I'm not gonna hack that way on camera. And you know, like you need something working, that's great, but I'm not gonna show somebody how to do that. So it's a lot of hard work for even a 15-minute video takes hours. If you're not trying to make it perfect, but you're trying to make it usable, because if they can't see the lighting on it, it's not worth anything.
And I think we tend to be our worst critics too.
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Well, I had one thing that if you live by the good comments, you also die by the bad comments. Like you will put like hours and hours into something, you get a couple good comments, and then you get someone who just says like, Atari sucks, or something like that. It's like, whatever. I mean, it doesn't hurt you, but it's like, you're just like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, why did you watch my video then? Why did you spend that much time typing in that comment?
I'll say one thing is that what's been driving us lately, or me myself, is the stories, right? We've seen, like in video game history and even computer history, all the big stories, but there are thousands of small stories and people that are willing to tell their story. And one thing I just found, was able to contact the guy who made the first homebrew for Atari, Ed Federmeyer, not Rob Fulop, that doesn't count. Ed Federmeyer, and he's been disappeared for about 20 years, and he wants to tell a story. And so, to me, just finding people who have a story to tell, that to me is really interesting. We'll never make a buck on it, but I like letting people tell their story.
Nice. Yes.
I think one of the cool episodes that David had was just your travel to Japan and kind of bringing that into the theme of your YouTube channel. And I'm wondering whether others are considering kind of bringing this very different passion, whether it's automotive, travel, food, I don't know, into and trying to incorporate that into the channel.
I just want to make a comment on this. So the question was like integrating other things besides, say, retro computers or your current theme into your YouTube channel. I find it very funny, like we're talking about the negative comments. I've never really given a crap if people like my stuff. I usually go on and just troll people when they get really nasty. Go like, well, and see how many times I can get them to reply. But one thing I noticed, because my channel is unthemed, I might do an art project, like whatever, and people are like, I love it, and then I'll do, something with chemistry, and like all the art people will be like, screw you, I came here for art. And so, it's kind of funny, it kind of feels to me, the more niche-y you are, the more love you can get on your channel, and the more you diversify your channel, the more you're gonna get a little bit of hate. But you got to take it with a grain of salt and just laugh at all the people that don't appreciate whatever that video is of the day.
I think I mentioned this at last year's panel, but it's worth doing again. I have a video where somebody commented, "Play more games, old man." So, I'm like, well, that's permission to just record me playing games on the YouTube now. So that's easier.
So it's interesting that you mentioned the Japanese video, because that was a trip that I did with my buddy Eric. He's in the background of the video a couple of times, and it was one that we were going to do anyways. And so I kind of wrapped it up as there was the only G15 that was ever imported to Japan. I wanted to take this chance. So there was some retro computing content in that video, And I knew it wasn't going to perform very well because it was very different from my normal content, and it of course it tanked. And another recent example of that is I did a video where I was doing an interview with Eric Schlepfer. I think I said that right, Schlepfer. Tube Time, essentially. And he's brilliant, one of the smartest people I've ever had the pleasure of talking to. And we talked about reverse engineering, going back to the question about the floating point systems. And again, this is a departure from my norm. And I knew it wouldn't perform well, and of course it tanked. But I was very proud of the video, and I think it came out really well. And I actually enjoyed talking with Eric, and I enjoyed watching the results of our talk after it was all edited together. So all of that is kind of context leading into whenever you step out of the niche that you've carved out, setting aside the positive or negative comments that you're going to get, there's always going to be a dip in engagement. But also, you're potentially catching new people. And
absolutely on that one, yes.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's this double-edged sword. You can go, oh, there's a dip in engagement, so I won't want to do that again. But then you end up chasing the algorithm. You go, okay, I want to do whatever is required to not have a dip in engagement, and then you can kind of start to lose the passion. And so I think what made that Tube Time video where I talked to Tube Time one of my favorites that I've done so far is that I still had the fire burning in me, and Eric had the fire burning in him as we were talking about this like incredibly weird thing that we do. And I think that fire is the most important part of it. So even though there's a dip in engagement or there was a dip in views or anything like that, people are going to watch your channel to watch that fire. And if you're just consistent, if you do it I don't know if you do it every week, but if you do it
every 2 weeks,
every 2 weeks,
religiously.
So if you have a consistent schedule and you're just like going at it and you can keep that fire burning, I think it's okay to stray from the topic and bring other things into the fold. And you will see a dip, but it doesn't matter because it keeps that fire there, and that's what people are coming back for.
I think like Adrian's digital basement is like my parasocial relationship with him, which I find comforting, and his formula is nice. And like for me, like I'll grab a cup of coffee in the morning, I'll be getting my day going, like, oh, it's a new Adrian video, and I'll put it in the background. He's repairing a Commodore 64. I've repaired 100 Commodore 64s. I don't need to see another one, but it's a comforting thing for me. I think that's why these formulas sometimes work really well, like, you know, for engagement, is people are just like, oh yeah, he's gonna do that thing again, and yeah, I'm gonna have to pay attention and just let it play through.
Well, and going back to the angry comments, I've had a lot of people who will email me and be like, oh yeah, I loved your show. I love this one episode. You taught me why object orientation matters. I never thought about OO programming that way. It's like, that's great. But I also have people that will email me and say, I don't know what a computer is, man, but I just love listening to your show. You're just so you're just so darn excited, and I enjoy it.
It's the fire, man.
Yeah, it is.
The fire. You got to keep that fire burning.
Yeah, exactly. That hits the nail right on the head, I think.
I believe you had a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Between two films, Tron or War Games?
War Games.
Damn, War Games.
I can't decide. Sorry. I'll say War Games because it's hard. That's hard.
War Games.
I'm just gonna say Tron because I thought it looked cool.
It does.
It is cool.
Anything with speech synthesis, War Games.
I'm gonna go with Tron Legacy because the soundtrack was fire.
War Games, blinking lights.
Wait, one thing is, which one had better games though? Because War Games sucked, so it's Tron.
Oh, to come from it? Oh yeah.
Why would you want to
Tron
play
had
a
better
game?
Yeah. Tron had better games because the Intellivision.
War Game wasn't about the games.
Well, there was a game made by Thorne and EMI called War Games.
Oh, that one.
It's awful.
Yeah. Was there a follow-up for that?
No.
No? Okay. Question back there?
So at VCF 2055, who's going to be there? Is it going to be any millennials going crazy over their iPhone 16, or is it going to be us in our wheelchair?
I am racking my brain and what...
Does that translate over to the millennial generation?
Of course. So I'm racking my brain, what can I start storing in my closet? Right? And forget about it. And then my kids will find it and be like, wow, Dad had a lot of iPhones. So.
I mean, Sean is a millennial, so tell us. Right? Sean, you're a millennial, right? Or a little younger? You're a little younger, I think.
I mean, I've been told I'm 12.
Okay, so you're in the I know you're not 12. Just kidding. I mean, there's the next generation is right here doing it. Yeah, so what would you, well, but they're, yeah.
I think it's going to be exciting. Like you see it even with like old folks like us, you know, constituting like Quantum Link and some of these online services. I think these amazing kids are going to be like reconstituting like cell phone networks and you know, Facebook after it's dead or something.
Well, and the state of preservation now, I mean, well, say what you will with the monoculture online now, but the state of preservation like in the 90s and early thousands that we have for the internet, very good. A lot better than like the preservation we have on BBSs or floppy disks or software. So I think that'll be the cool thing to look at in 2055 is what were people doing on GeoCities back in the day?
And
well, I think a big problem though is a lot of that software. Like you guys picked up Pit Stop 2 in a box with a disc unopened today.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve.
You're welcome. You can pay me later. No. But the software I download now for like my MacBook and stuff, I don't have copies of that. And you know, what are they going to do in even 10 years, 20 years?
Donate to the Internet Archive for as little as $5. You can preserve the future.
I want to say right now, I know that there are many Zennials who are really into their web games in the 2000s that have gone away, that like their MMOs and MMOGs, who are literally trying to recreate them themselves. So I think that it's not physical necessarily, but they are doing it. It's in different ways. So it makes me really happy to hear that.
You can also look at what's going on with preservation around Flash games.
Right. That's
what we're
exactly.
saying. Yeah. Steve and I made a lot of Flash games for Mattel, and now people try to find me and ask me where those games are that I made, and I don't have, except for the source code that's on one of my backup discs. I don't know how to get that to work.
They're right in here, buddy.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I think we have time for one more question.
Well, it was more of a comment about there was I think there's at this point now like a WASM version of Flash Player that you can take any existing, if you have all the, even if you have the Flash like compiled version, you can run it as a WASM app like on a website now.
Yeah.
Nice. Was there
it works for Flash up until like Flash 8, and that's it. And that's the problem. But they're still getting there. It's going to be awesome.
Nice. Are you the same question together? Yes.
I was curious, have you worked on a project that had like an absolutely catastrophic failure, smoke, fire, and everything, but then after that got it working perfectly and almost better than new?
Nobody wants to admit it, but I think everyone here has done something. You know, I've done things I'm like, what did I just do? But, you know, that's the fun of it. You know, if you don't get into it, you don't learn. And I'm still learning on stuff. I'm still breaking stuff. And I like that. It's what I've done. I have broken stuff all my life. And it got me here. So
I've crashed multiple hard drives and brought most of them back.
I'm not a hardware guy. Every time I try to do restorations, I explode power supplies. And I have a friend that has a lot of capacitors who I've bought a lot of beer for. So I've gotten someone to make them work like new.
Nice. Any other responses to that?
I haven't restored it yet, but I've got this, it's like a 4,000 watt audio amplifier for a car. That's like, it's got quite a bit of like burn damage in it, and I haven't tried to fix it yet, but I'm hoping to get to it at some point. So.
Okay. Well, I know there's more questions, but we're going to have to stop now. I want to let these fine people go. Thank you very much for being on the panel, and let's give them all a round of applause.
Thank you, Steve.
And thank you for coming and attending.